Alright everyone, this is Ash. Welcome back to the King's Speech. Apologies, I did mean to get these videos out yesterday, but unfortunately while it was a long weekend, it was also a long weekend. So unfortunately I had some other stuff to deal with and get out of the way first. But it's only a day late, so it shouldn't be too much of a big deal. So just some minor channel update stuff before we get into the chapter of Akane-Banashi here. So the plan for today is to get caught up with the Shonen Jump stuff that came out this weekend. So Spy Family's already recorded, should be up on the channel by now by the time this video drops. Apart from that, we're also getting it around to Akane-Banashi as well as the latest chapter of Goku Rakugai. Like I mentioned on the recent channel update video, I'm also doing a new read-through for a Bride story as well. So we need to try to get around to at least the first volume of that today. We'll see if I have to split it up into two videos or not. We'll get around to at least that, as well as possibly Battle Angel Alita as well, depending on how energized and stuff I feel. But yeah, like I mentioned on that, so we're going to be doing a rotation of 3 different series for the channel. So we're going to be going through one volume of each one every now and then. So hopefully that variety will keep things from getting a little bit, will keep things from stopping, not getting too boring around here. But yeah, without further ado, we're going to dive into it with Akane-Banashi Story 76, the Shikisai Festival Part 2. As you have story by Yuki Suenaga, art by Takamasa Moe, translation by Stephen Paul, and lettering by Sneeraron. So we have, that's it. Let Master's tea steam a little extra before you serve it. And that's Akane's father. God, what the heck? Cannot remember his name for the life of me right now. My mind is just drawing a blank. When he's talking to baby Guriko, who's going, yeah! It's like, you mean yes, sir? He's like, yeah! He's like, excuse me. He's like, excuse me. He's like, excuse me. It's like, it's only been 3 days since you became a Zenza apprentice. And you see April 5th, Sunday. He's like, I know this is all new to you, but you'll pick it up in time. He's like, yeah! He's like, yes, sir! It's like, he was over a dozen years older, but he spoke to me like a normal person and was always looking out for me, trying to help. But in September of that same year, Ani-san was expelled from the school. 5 months later, the following February, and we see Akane kind of outside the Shiguma school, you know, kind of begging to be let in, going, I've made up my mind. I've decided I'm going to be a Shinichi and prove that Dad's Rakugo was great. You have April to February. There was just a 10-month gap between when Akane and I started. And now the final results. So you have the sign of the Shikisai Festival, and you have God, what is it? Maikaru going, the Shiguma School Entertainer Stand's #1 earner was Guriko and Akane's Yakisoba stand. And they're just like, yeah! It's like, heck yeah! And you see Koguma came in second place. It's like, if I hadn't fled the stand in the first half. Akane's, my speech drew them in, and Guriko's like, my skill closed the deal. And you see Maikaru came in third. He's like, still got third. And you see that Kyoji was excluded because he needed medical help. He's like, you dummy. And then you have huh? You had zero profit in the end, Maikaru Ani-san? With that huge crowd? He's like, well, my sales were good. God, it's like, but I used up all the money treating the ladies, so it doesn't count. It's like, I'll buy you whatever you want. He's like, what? This guy may have lost the battle, but I won the war. It's like, but the competition over most sales was your idea. And Akane's like, what do you think, Kogu? He's here, gloom and wheezes. Koguma's just falling to his knees, just wheezing out. He's like, Koguma, Ani-san, are you okay? He's like, I was in performance mode for too long. He's like, what? Yeah, Akane's really gotten into the swing of things here. It's almost too much if you ask me. He's like, Miss Haragi, give me chocolates. Want one? And Koguma's just like, reached out like, chocolate? And Maikaru's just like, nice choices. Like, you may be right. It's like, still, she's very impressive. For better or for worse, she's always been center of attention since last summer. Among her fellow Rakugoka who saw the recent selection round, the majority ranked Akane's skill higher than the girl who won. It reminds me of what I thought about our Rokuro. And you see there really are people out there. So you have Shikisai Festival, Shiguma School Apprentice Stage, and you see Akane doing a performance to raucous laughter. You have who skip steps on their rapid ascent up the stairs of life. And Goriko's like, I know better than anyone just how much she's grown. And he's thinking back to Akane when she's just being like all stiff and like robotic in her first performance. And he's thinking, is she gonna be okay? And as she comes back into the backstage, she's like, there you go, I've warmed him up. He's like, cool, good job. And right before he goes, like, he takes out his hand, does like a little marking on it. He goes, here goes. He's like, let's do this, as he goes and takes a seat. And he goes, in Rakugo, we have a stock character who's defined by his carelessness. And of course, we have the translation or the Rakugo supervision credit for Keiki Hayashiya. You have the careless nail. A married man and wife move into a new home. And the wife goes, can you put a nail up here so I can hang the broom on it? The hijinks begin when the careless husband hammers in a single nail in this humorous Akane-Banashi. It's like, oh, it's filthy. There's spiders and everything. Well, we don't want them building webs all over our new place. Here we go. It's like, take that! You see him just pretending to like hammer a thing. He's like, yo! It's like, damn it, I hit my finger. It's like, oh, I'm pretending to suck on it. It's like, oh, that stings. It's like, phew. He's like imitating blowing on it. It's like, wait, it was this hand. Nakane is like, oh, the careless nail. It's like, just a little bit careless. It's the perfect story to match Ani-san's nin. He's like, ah, shoot, I hammered the nail all the way in. And you see later as they're helping take down like all the structures in the stage and everything. You have Akane, do you remember me from the Rakugo Cafe? And you have, oh, Miss Yoshino. Wow, you came to watch me? It's like, I certainly did. Your Rakugo's gotten even better. I hardly recognized you. And you, Guri-chan, your yakisoba was simply delicious. And he's... not sure what... because he seems like a little bit taken aback by the comment. And he's thinking back to her, again thinking back to Akane's first time performing with this is her first time? Is she going to be okay? You go instead, Guri-chan. It's like, I'm sure Master has a reason for sending her. Oh, it's because his performance didn't make any impact on her. It's like, you'll come back and perform for us sometime, won't you? Oh, yeah, so she's talking to Akane. He's like, you'll come back and perform for us sometime, won't you? It's like, of course. And he's like, I guess I made it a bit too delicious. And you see some little kids doing Janken-pon, which is rock, paper, scissors. And you see later someone calling out to Maikaru with, Ani-san! It's like, hey, it's Guririn! It's like, hiya! It's like, how'd you know to find me here? It's like, this is the best spot for fireworks. Watch them with me. It's like, yes, sir! And you see him just like stealthily pulling out a beer can. He's like, grinning. He's like, alcohol. And as he opens up the cap, he's like, Ani-san, I finally understand what you meant when you told me to watch Akane's performance. It's like, I know better than anyone just how much she's grown. You have Janken-pon. You see Guriko. And you note in the step climbing version of Janken, rock, paper, scissors, winning with rock, Gu, lets you take 3 steps up, Guriko. Winning with scissors, Choki, lets you take 6 steps, Chiyoke Reito. And winning with paper, Pa, also lets you take 6 steps. It's Pa I Na Puru. And you see April and February is like Janken-pon. It's like just a 10-month gap between me and Akane starting up lessons. But now, it's like chocolate. And you see Ani-san, I'm not as good as Akane. Oh, man. Alright. So I guess quick thoughts on the chapter. So I think, yeah, there's not really much to say about like the stuff from the beginning, but I like that we're finally getting some focus on Guriko and kind of his insecurities as, you know, like the older pupil, kind of getting steadily kind of outstripped by the younger one who's, you know, been kind of practicing for like the same time frame that he has, but it's kind of been like significantly kind of outpacing him skill wise. So I'm really interested in seeing like that aspect of him, seeing like his history, because we know he has some kind of history with Kaisei. I don't know if it's like a rivalry, or we know he's got some kind of history with Kaisei. He's got some kind of chip on his shoulder. So I'm really looking forward to like hopefully the next arc kind of diving into his past, his character, kind of stuff like that. Apart from that, again, I've talked about this before, how like the last arc didn't really impact me, I think, the same way it impacted everyone else. In that I wasn't really sold on the idea that Akane's performance outstepped Hikaru's, and she just kind of won on a technicality, so to speak. So a lot of the like the post art conclusion stuff, where people are talking about like oh, Akane's improved so much, like even though she technically lost in that tournament, she still, her skills prove that she was the actual like real winner and stuff. A lot of it isn't sitting right with me, because again, I kind of talked about this way back at the beginning. I think before the arc even started, I talked about how I kind of hoped that this would be similar to Haikyuu's kind of ball boy arc, where we'd see it kind of learning like the deficiencies and where she kind of like needs to improve for Rakugo, and she kind of builds upon the basics to kind of start like step laddering her way up higher. And the fact that she, even though she technically lost, a lot of the post arc conclusion is kind of reaffirming the fact that she didn't really lose. She still kind of has proven herself, etc. All that. It really kind of dampens the impact of like Akane's whole like being kind of downtrodden, being like, oh my god, I lost, I feel so bad. I want to prove that my dad's Rakugo is worth it. I want to I want to take that spot in the competition. It just kind of loses the impact when it doesn't feel like it was an actual true defeat that she has to learn from and grow from, to kind of get better at Rakugo, like performing and all that. So I think those aspects of this chapter were the weakest, where kind of like everyone's kind of like reaffirming like how talented Akane is, like how fast she's grown, and like how quick her growth has been, etc. Like how she's like a natural born talent. So yeah, I think those are the weakest parts of the chapter, but using that as kind of a segue into Goriko's kind of like insecurities and like doubts about that, and his performance and his future in Raku, I think was interesting. So I'm looking forward to definitely seeing more of that aspect explored for sure. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this arc goes from here. I think I'll go back and read the previous one to kind of see if my opinion on that is going to change. But yeah, like every time it kind of gets referenced post arc, it really just isn't kind of landing with the impact I think it should be. But we'll see. Like I said, this arc hopefully might change my perceptions on that with a reread. We'll see what happens. So like I mentioned at the beginning, if you like this content, please do like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. A lot of great content is going to be coming out your way this weekend. I'll probably do another proper channel update sometime next week, so look forward to that as well. And until next time, this is Ash. I'll talk to you all later.